Yeah, that's what's up. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You know the show has started when Jeff is coughing his lungs out. How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to the iGrow Culture Podcast, episode number 19. It's great to be with you. I promise it is good to be with you. It may not sound like I'm having fun because I'm dying from a dab, but here in just a minute, we're going to get a party started. It's a rainy day here in Colorado. I'm hanging out, relaxing, listening to the sound of the rain and thunder. Been wondering what to put on the show. It's been a few days since I put out an episode, and I messed up the rhythm by putting out a show on Saturday, but I'm back on schedule with number 19, so thanks for joining me. Gosh, I think I've recovered from that dab. Last night I went to the 710 Cup award ceremony in Denver. The 710 Cup is a hash festival. It's kind of a competition. There were about 50 entries in the hash contest. What they do is the hash makers enter their hash, their concentrate, already broken down into small samples. So I think there were 50 contestants, which means they had to turn in 50 samples. Those entries are then assigned a number, and they make a little kit for each of the judges. So you're given a little, like a pencil box full of samples labeled 1 through 50. And you basically go through and you spend a couple of days smoking each sample, and you judge them by flavor, texture, appearance. There's a nice little list of things that we judge them on. I was not part of the judging this year. I did it last year. This year I did not do any of the judging. But you go and you judge all the stuff, and then you turn in your judging, all your paperwork. And then on Saturday night, last night, they announce all of the winners. And they do it by numbers to keep it anonymous, so that way nobody knows which sample is which. So I did not attend the Friday or Saturday portions of the event. I was only able to make it up to the awards ceremony at Coyote's on Saturday night. But that part was tons of fun. The party kicked off with a marijuana comedian. I was a little dabbed out and distracted by conversation when they introduced him, so I did not catch his name, and I honestly didn't pay too much attention to most of his set. I had bumped into a bunch of friends I hadn't seen in a while. We kind of got into conversation. I apologize to the comedian for not paying any attention. I feel a little rude about that, but you know what? I was there for a party. So after the comedian, there was an award ceremony where Sean Tron took home most of the awards. We'll go over a full list of the award winners just a little bit. So there's a funky jam band that played a Grateful Dead cover that I really appreciated. They played a version of Shakedown Street that I thought was pretty damn awesome. I got to visit with a bunch of friends that I only see at 420 or 710 events. And to top it all off, I stuck around to hear a few songs from old school rapper Slick Rick. Dude, Slick Rick was wearing more gold than I've ever seen. I've seen full rap groups not wearing as much gold and bling as Slick Rick had. He had a diamond and gold watch. His rings were bigger than most people's pendants. He had the links in his gold chains were more gold than most people's gold chains. That dude was bling the fuck out. So I want to give a big shout out, big 710 style shout out to my buddy Kevin. He saved me a really prime seat to sit in, a spot in which to sit. I don't know the proper grammar there. Kevin saved me a fucking killer seat. Thanks, bro. Big shout out to Josh and Jeff from La Plata Labs. Also a shout out to Lenny Lane for bringing the killer solvent list. That was tasty, bro. Thank you. And thanks for the good conversation about breeding. That conversation is not done. We have to finish that conversation or continue it at least. Also a big shout out to Jay Dizzle for the super tasty and ultra smooth dab, that Dabbuccino with the e-nail on it. That is fucking stylish and it hits like a boss, so thank you. Also a big shout out to Ruga from Grassroots for throwing and hosting the party. The award ceremony went fairly smoothly. It was just ran by Mike Fro and Ryan Ruga Connolly from Grassroots, and they did a hell of a job. So I also want to give a big shout out to Big D. D was given a Lifetime Achievement Award from the 710 community. It was great to see somebody honor Dan for his dedication and his work in the community, and not just for his hash making skills. He's received plenty of awards for that. It was good to see him get an award just for being a good dude. That was well overdue. The part of the event I saw was great. During one of Slick Rick's songs, the whole sound system went dead for a couple of minutes, and they had to figure out what went wrong to get the show started again. So I was kind of curious how, he's kind of a superstar. I was kind of curious how he would handle it, but he just waited it out. He stood on stage and kind of cooled down because it was hot in there. I think he took a minute to catch his breath and cool down. And then they carried on with the show, but it was hot in there. So after that first band played, it got really hot. And by the time Slick Rick came up, it was way too hot for me. So after a couple of his songs, I took a final dab and I headed out. And that was mostly my 710 Cup experience. I said we do a rundown of the winners. Let me scroll over to that right quick. Here's a quick rundown. I guess a quick rundown would be Seantron fucking cleaned house. Seantron won everything. Not everything, but like most of it was just Seantron. He walked away with a handsome check. He got a sweet custom-made rig from Mike Fro. He had 2 grassroots hat deals. He got a vape pen. He got enough goodies to fill a suitcase, and then they also handed him a bunch of gift cards. So a big shout out to Seantron. Here are the official results of the 2014 710 Cup. This is from their Facebook page. Let me scroll to it. All right, starting at the bottom of the list, Best Taste went to Advanced Medical Alternatives with entry number 20, Durban Poison. Best Effect went to Seantron and the Health Center, entry number 19, Pre-98, Bubba Kush. Best Consistency went to Infusions, entry number 1, Blueberry plus Grape Ape. Best Aroma went to Kind Bill and A Cut Above with entry number 29, Legend of 91 number 3 and Chem 91. Best Solventless, third place, Snake Vitus. Best Solventless number 2, second place, Cannabis for Health. Best Solventless, first place, entry 06, Cindy White plus The Boss. CBD, number 2, Infusions. Entry number 8, Shark Shock. CBD, first place, The Health Center, Seantron once again. Entry number 19, Pre-98, Bubba Kush. Sativa Wax, third place, THC Cannabis Company. Second place, Sticky Business. And first place, Advanced Medical Alternatives with entry number 20, Durban Poison. Indica Wax. Third place, God's Green Earth. Second place, Growing Minds. First place was Advanced Medical Alternatives with the entry number 13, OG Bubba Kush plus Strawberry Cough. That sounds fucking tasty. I don't know if I got a dab of that one. A lot of the dabs I tasted were jelly bean heavy, in my opinion, and we'll get to that here in just a second. We'll talk more about that. Where was I? Sativa Shatter. Third place, THC Cannabis Company. Second place, Sticky Business. First place, Advanced Medical Alternatives with entry number 20, the Durban Poison. Indica Wax. Third place, God's Green Earth. Second place, Growing Minds. And first place, Indica Wax, Advanced Medical Alternatives with entry number 13, OG Bubba Kush, and Strawberry Cough. That sounds like a delicious entry. Let's see, Sativa Shatter. Third place, God's Green Earth. Second place, Steel Rollin'. And first place, The Health Center with entry number 37, Pre-Jilly. Let's see, Indica Shatter. Third place, Native Roots Extracts. Second place, Kind Bill, A Cut Above. And first place in Indica Shatter category was Infusions, entry number 1, which was Blueberry plus Grape Ape. These are pluses, not times, so these are not bred together. These are 2 strains that were blended together. They're blends, not crosses, is what I think I'm trying to say. So there were 2 special awards for the 2014 710 Cup. One of the awards was the People's Choice Award, and guess who that one went to? That went to the Health Center, which is Seantron once again with number 37, the Pre-Jilly. And then drum roll, please. First place overall. You may be able to predict this one. It went to, guess who? Seantron once again with the Health Center, number 37, Pre-Jilly. So I'm going to count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 winning that I see. 6 wins from Seantron and the Health Center there out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 categories. Seantron took 6 of them. So congrats, bro. I don't know if you listen to the podcast or not, but I hope you do. And dude, congratulations. I got to taste your entry. When I hit it, I said right away, there's some Jilly Bean in there because I'm a fan of the Jilly Bean strain. So big shout out to Subcool and Miss Jill for making the Jilly Bean, I guess we should say. And big love to the Health Center, the Grow team there, and fucking super killer job to Seantron. And once again, much respect to Ryan from Grassroots for throwing the competition. That's really cool of them to do. There was a scare that the competition was not going to happen this year, and I'm glad that they pulled it together and made it happen. Oh, I apologize. I'm getting a Facebook message. I'm reading these winners off of Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and close Facebook so that doesn't happen again. Sorry, message me later, whoever that was. All right, I feel like that was enough about my weekend. Let's do a quick ad or two, and then we will work our way into some news. Who do you want to do an ad for? I think Nature's Green Remedies has an ad. Let's see. This podcast is brought to you by naturesgreenremedies.com. Visit naturesgreenremedies.com for Gauge Green Genetics, La Plata Labs, Sin City, Rare Dankness, Mile High, Canaventure, Irie Genetics, and many more trusted brands. If you purchase 2 packs of Irie Genetics, you will receive a free 5-pack of Dubwise while supplies last. Nature's Green Remedies is running a podcast. They're running a podcast for our special listeners. You know what I mean, right? They're running a special for you guys that are listening because we appreciate you for listening. Simply type in coupon code PODCAST for 15% off any order, and you always get free shipping at naturesgreenremedies.com. Coupon code PODCAST does expire July 31st. I'm pretty sure they do have some Irie Genetics in stock. They just got a refill a couple of days ago. So if you're trying to get some of that stuff, the Black Cherry Kim, the Grateful Dog, act now. They always seem to sell out really quickly. I can't help that. That's just what they do. They order when they're ready. I send them their order when they ask for it. So I apologize. Let's see. This podcast is also brought to you by our good friends at Oil Slick. Oil Slick, tools to help you concentrate. Check out oilslickpad.com for more information. Make sure you follow Oil Slick on Twitter. Find them under @OilSlickPad. Send them a tweet. Tell them you're listening to the iGrow Culture podcast. Oil Slick is a really good sponsor, and it's also a very practical product. I use my Oil Slick every single day. I've got a big Oil Slick pad that I like to set a couple of my favorite glass pieces on. I got a couple of my favorite glass rigs on the Oil Slick pad. I've got a carb cap on there. I've got my favorite concentrate sitting on the Oil Slick pad. I know that my concentrate's not going to stick to the Oil Slick pad. I know that I'm not going to leave a bunch of sticky rings on my table. It's a place to keep my stuff kind of organized. It's a nice little dedicated spot is what I feel like. And also, you hear this sound right here? I don't know if you can hear it. That's a rig hitting a table. That's just setting a rig down on a table. Here's a rig sitting down on a slick pad. They made a little noise because I set it down really hard because it was out of my reach. But, I mean, dude, I'd much rather set it on the Oil Slick pad than the wooden table. It just feels a little better for my rig. One side sticks to the table real well so it won't slide around. And then the other side is nice and soft and your dabs won't stick to it. Just get yourself an Oil Slick pad. Also, quit carrying your hash around in folded up parchment paper. That doesn't look classy at all, bro. Get yourself a Oil Slick container. They make them in every color. So have some class, get some Oil Slick products, step up the game a little bit. All right, guys, feels like I need a dab. So I'm going to take a quick dab and we will work our way into a little bit of news. Hang tight for just a minute. All right, guys, I am back on the microphone after way too many fat dabs. Hey, speaking of way too many fat dabs, I want to recommend another podcast. I think you guys should be listening to The Adam Dunn Show. I know it seems weird that I'm advertising another podcast that may be considered a competitor, but I don't see that as a competition in any way at all. I would be doing you a disservice if I did not recommend the Adam Dunn Show. Specifically, go back and listen to the All About Dabs episode 2 and 3 and really pay attention to what those guys are talking about what we're doing to ourselves health-wise with dabs. Some of that stuff may be interesting to you. It may reduce your dab intake. I'm known for taking some fucking huge dabs, for being a dab monster, for loving to take a lot of dabs. That episode has changed my dab intake and my approach to dabbing a little bit. Those 2 episodes. I'm not paranoid or anything. I'm just more conscious, and I think that we should all be a little bit aware of what we're doing to our bodies and what we are potentially doing to ourselves. I'm not trying to scare you, but listen to the All About Dabbing episodes of the Adam Dunn Show. Big shout out to Adam Dunn. I kind of saw him from across the room at the 710 event last night, and he was the guy wearing the shirt with his face on his own shirt. So shout out Adam Dunn. Shout out to Mitch Shanasa, all the guys that help out on that show, all the people that are the guests on the episodes I talked about. Listen to that. That's good shit. That's enough ranting about that. So let's get into some news. Where do you want to start? Let's start here at home in Colorado. Colorado, you're a bunch of fucking potheads, dude. This one comes from the Denver Post, written by John Ingold, published July 9th, so we're a little bit late, but here we are. Colorado study pegs annual pot demand at 130 metric tons. God damn, you smoke a lot of weed, Colorado. A state-produced study has concluded that high taxes and fewer stores are keeping Colorado medical marijuana consumers from switching to the recreational cannabis market, a trend that, if continues, will have a major impact on the state's predicted marijuana tax windfall. The study released Wednesday found that out-of-state visitors make up nearly half of the recreational marijuana sales in the Denver area and 90% of recreational sales in mountain resort communities. Tourists, though, account for only about 7% of the annual demand for marijuana in the state, which the study estimates at 130.3 metric tons. That's a lot of weed, dude. I can't even fathom 130.3 metric tons. I was in Denver. Excuse me, I got a dab cough going on. I was in Denver driving yesterday for that 710 Cup, and I passed a dispensary that's right there in downtown Denver, and there were a group of people that were obviously from out of state because they were gathered in front of the sign of the dispensary, and they were taking turns taking picture of each other, throwing their local gang sign up in front of the dispensary sign. I found it entertaining. I take it for granted. We here in Colorado, we forgot. Like, we just go to the weed store and buy some weed, or we don't. Most of us are probably growing our own by now. They said that 50% of the recreational sales is from people from out of state. My buddy Kev, that's on the show sometimes, he works at a shop. He says most of the people are from Texas. So most of that's going to Texas, it sounds like. 1 quarter at a time. So I'll continue with the article. The study finds total marijuana demand to be much larger than previously estimated, the study's author write in their report. The reason, the authors conclude, is that previous studies have underestimated the level of demand from heavy users. The new study finds that the top 22% of marijuana users in Colorado account for nearly 67% of the total demand. The bottom 54% users account for only about 4% of demand. My lips are all sticky. You guys can hear it. That's from the big fat dab I took. Think about that. If my lips are sticky, how far down did that sticky shit get? Is that all in my throat? Is that all in my lungs? Because I felt it on my teeth the other night, and that kind of freaked me out and made me start thinking about this. That's just a weird random side note. So this just said 22% of marijuana users in Colorado account for nearly 67% of the total demand. I'm not a mathematician or a math magician, but if there's 100 people smoking all this weed, 22 of them are smoking 67% of all that weed. That's funny to me. There's some serious hardcore potheads. Or are there people doing what we call the dispensary flip? Are they going and getting their outs? And then are they taking it around and doing what they can do? I don't even want to encourage or talk about that, but a lot of that is probably that, unfortunately. The prevalence of heavy users in Colorado is higher than the national average, the authors write. So it says, the department feels it is important to understand marijuana usage and the demand in the state to effectively manage production within the regulated industry, Colorado Department of Revenue Executive Director Barbara Brohl said in a statement. The Marijuana Enforcement Division said it used survey results, demographic data, research literature, and Colorado-specific primary source data to compile the study. I'm kind of curious because they're not supposed to be taking our information when we go in. We show them our ID at these rec shops, but they don't photocopy your ID. They're not supposed to be taking any notes on who's in there. So I'm a little curious where this data came from. I'd like to find out more about that. If anybody's listening that has input on how they got that info, if you have input on how they got that info, tweet me, message me at iGrow Culture on Twitter, iGrow Culture on Facebook, or iGrowCulture@hotmail.com if you want to email me along stuff. I would appreciate it because I want to know where they got that. They're not supposed to be copying our data. Colorado-specific primary source data. Kind of weird here. Anyway, among the most significant conclusions listed in the report, few people are switching from shopping at medical marijuana dispensaries to shopping at recreational marijuana stores. Well, no shit, it's more expensive there. The study concludes that could be because of higher taxes for recreational marijuana and fewer available outlets discouraging switching. Well, no shit, you charge us 25% extra. A Colorado resident's just going to go and get their card. It costs you $100 one time. But yeah, get your red card and save all that money. You save all the money like if you shop twice. The cost of the doctor, and then every time you go after that is just a bonus. So the retail demand is derived primarily from out-of-state visitors and from customers who previously purchased from the Colorado black and gray markets, the study's authors write. The trend, though, has major implications for the state's marijuana tax revenue. Predictions for revenue from the recreational marijuana tax once reached as high as $35 million for the first 6 months of 2014. Instead, including numbers released Wednesday for May tax collections, the state has brought in only about $14.7 million so far. The summer's here. I bet we're going to increase that number through the summer. And April probably boosted them up and got them all excited because, I mean, bought a lot of weed for 420. So medical marijuana sales, meanwhile, continue to outpace recreational sales. Through May, medical marijuana dispensaries had done nearly $165 million of sales compared with the $90 million from recreational stores. Tax revenue from medical marijuana sales, though, has amounted to slightly less than $5 million. Creating a system where people who are using cannabis medically can access their medicine without paying higher taxes is not a bad thing, said Taylor West, a spokeswoman for the National Cannabis Industry Association. The story was from the Denver Post. Let me go find another related article. There's a link here. I think I just got to go back. Yeah. They talk about 130 metric tons of pot. How heavy is that? State of Colorado estimates that its annual demand for marijuana is 130.3 metric tons, but how heavy is 130 metric tons anyway? It's the equivalent of 287,259 pounds. Does that make it any more clear to you? Me neither. That's also such a mammoth number that context doesn't come naturally, but thankfully, the Cannabis Crackpot Data team is here for you. Colorado's annual marijuana demand is heavier than a space shuttle or a blue whale, but not quite as heavy as a locomotive. So yes, it's a lot of weed. How heavy is 130 metric tons? They've given us a little graph here. A hippopotamus weighs about 3,300 pounds. That big, ugly Mustang DIA sculpture, that weighs 9,000 pounds. A school bus weighs 25,000 pounds. A bulldozer weighs 7,000 pounds. A B-2 bomber is 185,000 pounds. A blue whale is 250,000 pounds. Annual estimated Colorado marijuana demand, 287,259 pounds. So our point is we are smoking a whole bunch of cannabis and nobody's going to jail for it. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's find another news article to talk about here. And that article is obviously from The Cannabist. Let me find the author of that piece for you. That one was from Ricardo Baca. Let's see. What's our next news article? Oh, I forgot to even give a big congratulations to Washington. So this is the part where we're going to do that. Washington, they have opened up their dispensaries now. This article is also by Ricardo Baca. Thanks for writing all these articles and making it easy for me to do my news stuff. There are a lot of great news sources out there, but The Cannabist is always reliable. They're here in Colorado. So a quick shout out to The Cannabist. This article headline is This Washington shop served over 1,000 grams of pot to 400 buyers in 4 hours. Goes like this. Thomas Beckley and John Evick, I'm guessing on that, were on Cloud 9 when we spoke with them on the morning of July 8th, an unbelievably bustling Cloud 9 with electricity in the air and cash in the registers. We've had about 400 people in 4 hours, said Beckley, an owner at Top Shelf Cannabis in Bellingham, Washington. We opened at exactly 8 a.m., and through the news, we saw that we were the first shop to open in the state of Washington. Congratulations, guys. Proud of you. I'm pretty stoked, said the owner of Top Shelf. I'm not going to murder your name again. I apologize for doing that. I'm not good with these names. This is so new, and we're lucky just to get open, and that was a huge task. Right now, traffic is flowing smoothly, and we're thankful for that. Top Shelf served around 1,000 grams of legal retail marijuana to more than 400 customers in the first 4 hours of business on July 8th, Beckley said after referencing his in-house tracking system. Since the shop's median per gram price is $12.50, that makes for roughly $12,500 in sales for those 4 hours, or about $3,000 per hour. The line right now has dwindled down a little bit, Beckley said. Tonight, when everybody's off work, I think it'll be twice as much as it was earlier. The Top Shelf owners made international news earlier this week when they talked publicly about possibly using one of their crab boats or renting a helicopter to transport their marijuana stock from Bremerton to Bellingham to expedite the process of finally opening their doors for their first legal retail sale. That grand and elaborate plan didn't work out. We ended up not using it because we ran into some aviation rules and we couldn't go on the water because of the Coast Guard, Beckley said. The FAA and the Coast Guard told us they wouldn't recommend trying it. Oh, I bet these guys would have gotten their whole stock taken from them. That would have been shitty. It would have been funny and shitty at the same time. It would have been like a movie. So anyway, One of the owners, I can't say his name properly, Evich, attributed their smooth launch on July 8th to a couple factors, including his request for a smaller manifest for their weed delivery, which allowed them to count 50-something bags of marijuana before starting sales instead of counting 2,200 bags, and the shop's BioTrack THC point-of-sale equipment and software. Even given all the excitement Tuesday morning, Top Shelf Cannabis actually opened its doors a few minutes after 8 a.m. Our door opened at 8:03 a.m., he said, because complying and working with the state is the number one priority, even over customer service, which, yeah, that's got to be the truth. So they have their Washington stores are open. So anybody, I think 21 and over, can go buy cannabis there. I was looking at a few other articles. The price per gram there, you're looking at paying between $15 and $25 a gram, just depending on what strain and what shop. Some of the top shelf stuff, it seemed like the trend was that a lot of these shops were selling 2-gram packages. So you're getting 2 grams of the same strain, and it was already sealed. You didn't get to look at it. And they've got a jar on the shelf there. Like, they've got their several jars. I'm just going to make up names. They got Headband, they got Sour Diesel, they got Bubba Kush in jars. They probably had 6 or 7, 8 or 10 strains lined up in jars. You can look at those and you're like, I want the Sour Diesel. And they give you a pre-weighed bag of Sour Diesel that was 2 grams, and it was costing about $45 plus tax. Or about 40 plus tax in a lot of places. So it just depends on where you went and what strain you were looking for. I'm looking for more information on, pre-tax was $29.92. Post-tax was $40, and that was the price for 2 grams of a strain called Sweet Lafayette. I'm going to scroll down. There are pictures of some people's tweets. $13 a gram at this spot, $25 to $27 for 2 grams at this place. Here's what one of the first customers bought. A 2-gram package cost them $40 plus tax. They don't have a picture of the receipt on here. With taxes, it looks like 2-gram bags were coming to $54. So that's a little bit pricey. Hopefully it'll come down, but there's nothing encouraging them to lower their prices. They're selling plenty of weed already. So it's probably going to stay like that for a little while. So I've got a couple more stories coming from Washington since they just launched their shops. This one's kind of entertaining. It says Seattle's city attorney bought weed for his enjoyment. Denver's did not. When Seattle's lone recreational pot shop, Cannabis City, opened its doors on July 8th, Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes was fourth in line. And no, not the Pete Holmes you're thinking. This is not the comedian, not the guy with the big funny teeth that had the TV show. Not him. Yes, he bought some marijuana for posterity, but he also bought some for personal enjoyment. Pretty bold, Holmes. That's funny because this guy just wrote the phrase, pretty bold, Holmes, and it sounds like he's being a gangster. Pretty bold, Holmes. But anyway, the most important takeaway here is that today marijuana sales became legal, and I'm here to personally exercise myself this new freedom, Holmes told media on Tuesday. I bought 2 2-gram bags of OG Pearl, which was recommended. I'm keeping 1 bag for posterity and 1 bag for personal enjoyment at some point when it's appropriate. So this dude just admitted he's going to puff down 2 grams. That's pretty nice. Hopefully he shares with a good friend and they have a good laugh. Customer Vivian McPeak, who happens to be the executive director of Seattle HempFest, said he was proud of his city attorney. I'm inherently proud our city attorney has played a groundbreaking role in making this happen, this shift in public policy, McPeak told a reporter. He's backing up his words and is going to take some big, nice, long, deep tokes at home. I think it's all right. Holmes' bold move got us wondering, did Denver City Attorney Scott Martinez buy any marijuana for personal or professional reasons on January 1st? Have I bought any? No, I have not bought any. On January 1st or since then, Martinez told The Cannabist on July 8th. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this article comes once again from The Cannabist. Thank you. But I do know Pete, their city attorney, is elected and he campaigned on the issue. Martinez's point is straightforward. While he was appointed city attorney by Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, Holmes was elected by the people of Seattle. As an elected official, he certainly has he's an elected official, so I wouldn't comment on what his path is, Martinez said, but we both have an obligation to uphold the law, and I know what an important job it is and wish him the best as he goes forward in this new time for Seattle and Washington. Martinez said Holmes had visited Colorado and has seen legal recreational marijuana industry in action previous to Washington's opening day of retail sales on July 8th. We certainly share information because it's important to share best practices, especially as we're on the forefront of a unique legal issue, Martinez said. He's a smart guy, well-educated, and he's got a big job ahead of him. We're going to continue that sharing of information. So the city attorney bought some pot, right? And then I got to scroll back because right after that, there was another article that came out. And the headline is, and I'm sorry I'm going slow here. My internet is slow right here, right now. It says, no pot allowed at the office. Seattle City Attorney cops to breaking the rules. So, Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes admitted he broke a drug-free workplace rule when he bought marijuana on the first day of legal sales in Washington State. Holmes has been a big supporter of the legal marijuana law, and he says he wanted to be one of the first customers in Seattle's Cannabis City on Tuesday to honor what he called a tectonic shift in policy. He says he then brought the two unopened packages back to City Hall before taking them home. The next day, the city's personnel department issued a memo reminding employees they can't have marijuana when they're on official business or at city offices. Holmes issued an apology Friday and said he volunteered to donate $3,000 to the Downtown Emergency Service Center, an organization that provides housing for alcoholic, mentally ill, or otherwise vulnerable people. So that turned into an expensive-ass 2 grams of weed for City Attorney Pete Holmes. Man. There's a picture of him here shaking hands with the clerk from Cannabis City, and he's got a big old grin on his face, looking at the weed like, weed. Everyone's smiling at him like, that's the city attorney. One guy's not sure what to think. He's like, can he arrest me? Kind of funny. So even the city attorney kind of fucked up. He bought his weed and he took it right to the office. He was proud. He didn't know what to do with it. You walk around with your new bag all excited. So there's another article related to the Washington cannabis. The only pot shop in Seattle sells out. 11 pounds of marijuana are gone in 3 days. With taxes, the shop's prepackaged 2-gram bags sold for $46.77. San Francisco. This article is actually from Allison Vection from Bloomberg News. Seattle pot shop Cannabis City, the only licensed marijuana retailer in Washington's largest city, ran out of stock on the third day of state-approved sales, its owner said. The store, one of 25 licensed statewide this week, had 11 pounds, which is 4,990 grams of pot when it opened July 8th, and it sold out around 5 p.m. local time Thursday. Owner James Lathrop, sorry, I fuck up last names so bad, I apologize. James said, with taxes, 2-gram bags sold for $46.77. We knew it was coming. We didn't have any guaranteed additional deliveries. According to the Associated Press, this guy doesn't expect to get more supply for 10 to 15 days. Washington, home to Amazon.com, Microsoft, and Starbucks, became the second state after Colorado to permit the sale of marijuana for recreational use. Voters in both states approved the ballot initiatives in 2012, and Colorado retailers began sales in January. This guy said growers didn't receive licenses in time to produce enough marijuana for the store's opening this week. The plants take 3 to 4 months to mature, he said. Washington issued 90 licenses to pot growers and processors as of last week, according to Brian Smith, a spokesman for the Washington State Liquor Control Board, an agency charged with regulating the industry. So they didn't get their grows set up in time, and they had to open up, and guess what? Not enough reefer. Welcome to the pot world. And who the fuck opens up a store with 11 pounds? That's small talk. Like, any hustler should move through 11 pounds in a week. What are you doing? Nah, okay. So they're sold out of weed at some places, and they're saying right here that 2 grams was going for $46.77. That's a little pricey. All right. I've got one more little piece of news that comes from Washington. They put out a press release thing. There was a whole bunch of answers to Washington weed sale, 6 questions answered. There's one question that I found interesting that I could share with you guys. It says, how much can I buy? And this is Washington. Keep that in mind because the laws are different in Colorado. I found this interesting because in Colorado, they forgot to write this law. And so now they're trying to figure this out now. And in Washington, they put it in there correctly at the beginning. So it says, how much can I buy? State law allows the sale of up to an ounce of dried marijuana, 16 ounces of pot-infused solids, 72 ounces of pot-infused liquids, which would be tinctures or salves, I would assume, salves, whatever you want to call that liquid shit you rub in that I don't like it. That doesn't do much for me. But 7 grams of concentrated marijuana like hashish to adults over 21, whether you're a Washington resident or not. but there isn't expected to be any infused food or drink available right away. As of last week, the Liquor Control Board had not issued any licenses to processors for those products or approved any edibles for sale. Some stores are talking about limiting customers to 1 2-gram package each to make sure there's enough for everyone to buy some, which appears to be what happened on the first day of sales. A lot of the shops in Colorado were limiting it to an eighth or a quarter. I was actually lucky enough to be the first person to buy recreational cannabis at the Greener Side Dispensary in Pueblo, Colorado, and I actually picked up 2/8. They were not limiting sales that day, but they were not doing gram sales is what they were doing. It was an eighth minimum, and they had everything pre-packaged, and yeah, they weren't doing any grams, so they didn't have any of that, like, let me get a gram of this, a gram of this, a gram of this. It was, let me get an eighth, let me get an eighth. And I picked up the Girl Scout cookies and some Tahoe OG, and to tell you the truth, those packages are still sealed on my desk with the receipt sitting next to them. I have not smoked it. I haven't touched it. That's nostalgia. I hardly smoke herb that I did not grow myself. I'm picky like that, but I had to be first. You know, I've been the weed guy in this area since before we should talk about being the weed guy. Felt like I had to be that guy. It was kind of fun. Shout out to the Greener Side Dispensary. Shout out to Hank and all that crew, Garden of Whedon, all those guys. Right on. Big love. While I'm doing shout outs, I should do one quick ad, and then we're going to do another news topic here. Where is my ad page? Here it is. This podcast is proudly brought to you by iGrow Indoor Growing Supplies. I think you guys have noticed I only use sponsors that I trust and that I actually use their products. I don't have any bullshit sponsors. I don't accept sponsors that I wouldn't fully recommend to my friends. So iGrow Indoor Growing Supplies. iGrow Indoor Growing Supplies has 2 locations to serve Colorado. Visit the Denver store at 6271 Beach Street Unit F, or stop by the new location in Pueblo, Colorado at 618 East 4th Street. Check out iGrow for competitive pricing and a great selection of indoor grow supplies. Don't forget to check out www.highgrowdenver.com for current store hours and special sales. Stop in the Pueblo store, tell them you're listening to the iGrow Culture podcast. They'd like to hear that. They've got a lot of cool shit that I've never seen in grow stores in Pueblo before. They've got the OGT there. I highly recommend OGT. Feed it to your plants at the recommended dosage every 2 weeks. I stop feeding it to my flowering plants about week 4 because I feel like they've gotten enough by then. But all the way up to week 4 of flowering, from the time I put seedlings, I put that shit in there like the first feeding. My seedlings get that on their very first feeding all the way to week 4 of flower. So OGT, I recommend that shit strongly. And you can get it at iGrow Denver, iGrow Pueblo. Tell them I sent you. All right, I want to find this other article. I'm clicking around trying to find it. It's in here. It's in the computer. Somebody typed it. I promise you it exists. Who remembers the episode where we gave thanks to Mr. Mark Emery? Mark Emery is a guy who was in federal prison in America, and he actually did not commit any crime, in my opinion. He was a Canadian guy. He was shipping seeds across the world, and the Canadian authorities and the American authorities united, and they extradited him to America, and they put his ass in prison. He actually served, 1,590 days, which, guess what? That means he was officially, his sentence ended July 9th. He is not home yet. There's a bunch of crap you got to go through once you get out of prison and you're not a U.S. citizen. So I'm going to read something. This is from Mark Emery's blog. This actually comes from cannabisculture.com. A lot of it is written by his wife, Jody. I've been paying a lot of attention to what's going on with Mark through his Twitter. His wife, Jody, updates the Twitter for him quite often, and he was actually allowed internet access in the prison he was in. So I'll quit rambling, and here is by Mark Emery, written Monday, June 30th, with a few updates from Jody Emery spattered in there, and I'll let you know when those happen. So this says, "This is my last blog from the terminals of the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. My sentence was for 5 years, which would be 1,825 days, and I earned all 235 days of my eligible good conduct credit. So my sentence officially ends at 1,590 days, which is Wednesday, July 9th. On Thursday, July 10th, U.S. Immigration picks me up and takes me to the private for-profit GEO Group, LaSalle Detention Facility in Gina, Louisiana, where I will be processed for deportation back to Canada." But then this is where Jody interjects with an update. It says, "July 11th update by Jody Emery. Mark is not at LaSalle Detention Facility. He has been sent to Tensas, I don't know how to read that one, Tensas Parish Detention Center in Louisiana. They give his alien ID number, and she says, I don't know how long he will be there. You can look up his alien ID number at the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement website detainee locator page for information about where he currently is. She gives an address to send Mark letters or books. You can only order the books online. They can't be sent from an individual. They have to come from a distributor or a vendor so that they know you're not sticking shit in there. But then there is an address to ship books to. I will read it right now. He will be there until August, he predicts. So here is the address. Mark Emery. It's Marcemery. And then you've got to put this number. This is his number. Number 079067710. I'll repeat it for you if you're as high as me. It's 079067710. And then you're sending some books or a letter of encouragement to it's TENSAS Parish, Tensas Parish, PARISH. Did I say that right? Sorry, I'm reading it. I'm high. Tensas Parish Detention Center. It's spelled CENTRE because it's in Louisiana. They spell shit silly there. It's 8606 Highway 65, Waterproof, Louisiana, which is LA. And then the zip code is 71375. I will try to remember to tweet that. I'm writing a note to tweet that. All right, sorry, that took a second to write the note. So you can send letters of encouragement. You can send him all kinds of letters. Don't send him anything fucking stupid. It's a prison. Come on, be smart, please. But you can send him letters. You can send him like anything that he might want to read. Help him out, pass the time. So Mark continues and he says, my understanding is that I'll be dropped off ultimately at the border in Windsor, Ontario. I'm thinking sometime between August 10th and August 25th. That's a month after his release date. But we have no way of knowing for sure. You'd think that would be a straightforward process, taking a few days at most. But LaSalle is a for-profit GEO group detention center, and thus they are making money for every day I am there. And because the Canadian government is involved, these bureaucrats have a tendency to be slower than they ought to be. So I may need your help in providing motivation for them to repatriate me back to Canada on a more reasonable and timely schedule. When the former Canadian Conrad Black got out of Coleman Federal Prison in Florida last year, he was driven straight forward to Miami and able to go immediately to Toronto on a flight with his wife, Barbara Amiel. That was extraordinarily, not the least of which because Conrad Black is not even a Canadian citizen anymore, and it has never happened to any other Canadian in a U.S. prison. No doubt his friendship with former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney and others got him an instant express immigration approval back to Canada. But it shows a clear unfairness that a man who renounced his Canadian citizenship so he could be Lord in the British House of Commons gets treatment far beyond what any actual Canadian citizen like myself currently receives from the Canadian government. And I say like myself because that's what Mark wrote. I am not Canadian. I'm an American. I'm from California, but I'm from Colorado now. I get no connections in the high places, long drawn-out delayed route to an unceremonious drop-off in Windsor, Ontario. At that, not even to my home in Vancouver. Sorry, Mark writes strangely in long sentences and I'm high. No cushy flight for me back to the airport of my choice alongside my wife like Conrad. My point being, if they could get non-Canadian Conrad's paperwork ready in advance to get to Toronto immediately upon his U.S. federal prison release, they could have mine ready too. Last I checked, I am still a Canadian citizen. So then Jody updated. She says, July 11th update. The following information is not completely accurate because Mark is not at LaSalle. He is at Tensas Parish Detention Facility. Stay tuned for updates as they come. Then Mark continues, at any rate, once I arrived at LaSalle, I will be given an alien number and Jody will update this blog to indicate what my A number is. When you see my A number in this blog, I've been told that you can actually send me messages over the phone or by calling a phone number, which is no good anymore, so I won't even bother reading it. The receptionist will deliver messages. Okay, I got to skip all this because he says I buy phone cards and I can call out without limits on phone time. It's not quite a prison. Okay, but yeah, he's not there anymore. He says I'm done with my official U.S. sentence, but I still can't leave until they take me, so it's purgatory of sorts. When I get my A number, I am also assigned my deportation officer. I will fill out my temporary passport information, have my photo taken. I'll fill out my forms, and my deportation officer fills in his part, and afterwards it's on to the Canadian consul in Dallas, Texas, a fellow by the name of David Martinez. Once I am at LaSalle, Jody will post that phone number here. Which she can't do because he, of course, didn't make it there. All of the communication between LaSalle and the Canadian consul in Dallas, who liaisons to his boss in Ottawa, is done electronically. So that ought to be done quickly. That is within days. But I'm certain that perfidious actors in Ottawa could choose to be deliberately slow, lazy, or obstructive simply because it's me. And the Harper government is hardly eager to have me back in Canada. That is where many supporters can influence events should this procedure get unduly tardy. I may need all of you to call one of those 3 locations or all 3 locations for several hours a day, urging an end to any questionable delays if they should happen. But we will see. Just be ready to help if you are so inclined. Once the government paperwork is completed and my temporary passport is done, the INS people at LaSalle merely need to book my flight, then take me to Alexandria, Louisiana, and fly me to Detroit, Michigan, and escort me over the border point into Windsor, Ontario. However, many U.S. imprisoned Canadians have waited weeks for their flights to be booked because the prisons make more money the longer we are there. But then again, let us be optimistic and hope that a big campaign to urge my speedy return will prove to be unnecessary. This is getting a little long. There's only a little bit more, guys. Thanks for paying attention. This is Mark Emery we're talking about, so it's worth listening to. At this facility, we don't get outside much, but I can buy items from the commissary daily. I can't take anything with me. He's just talking about the place he thinks he's going to, which I won't even read it because he didn't get to go there. If you want to send me anything to help me get comfortable upon my arrival and during my hopefully short stay, you can use your credit card to send me $20 or $30 to help pay for my phone calls, and I'll thank you all. And buy food and clothes. Refer my name and A number when it gets, Jody will post it. She's done that. We've read that part. I believe only U.S. credit cards will work, but I hope the Canadian credit cards will be okay too because that's all Jody has. So man, this guy's he's out of prison and he's still locked up and still in prison, which sucks. The prison he was in was much better than where they're putting him now for this temporary time. So he's got to fucking deal with that shit after he's supposed to be out. So he says, when I'm finally placed on the plane to Alexandria, Louisiana and flown to Detroit, I will be met by 2 U.S. Marshals and then driven through a tunnel to Windsor, Ontario Canadian Customs and Immigration Office. I hope I will have enough advance notice to call Jody and have her fly standby to Toronto from Vancouver, then get to Windsor to be there waiting for me. And if you live in the Windsor area, I hope to see you there also. So he's inviting you Canadians out. If you're in Windsor, and when Mark gets out and you're in the Windsor area, he hopes to see you there. So follow Jody on Twitter, twitter.com/Jody Emery for regular updates, because that's where she posts most of the stuff online. We will have an impromptu gathering somewhere Windsor after my arrival, and within 12 hours, I will take the train or some transport to Toronto, where we will have another party at Vapor Central. Then I will give a talk the following evening there too. Other venues for meeting people will surely be planned and announced, but everything will be done short notice, so stay tuned for news alerts. He keeps going. He says, I want to close this final prison blog with a sincere thank you to our supporters, which is myself and you guys who have been listening to the show, who helped in so many ways during these long years of my incarceration. Jody and I appreciate everything you've done for us both and the movement at large in my absence. I can't wait to get home and thank you all in person in the weeks and months ahead and resume the unfinished battle to finish off marijuana prohibition with renewed vigor. I hope you'll be there with me. So this dude's getting out of prison. He's been in prison for 5 years. How many days did we say? That's up at the top. That was 1,590 days. Plus whatever time, and we're going to add another 30 or so days onto that, right? So this dude's been in there for 1,600 days, and he wants to get out and get back on the fucking streets and start battling for cannabis again. That's a diehard motherfucker right there. Hey, is he going to be drug tested? Because he said he's headed to Vapor Central or the Vapor Lounge. Is he going to be able to puff? Is he going to be able to dab? Oh, man, imagine being in prison for 6 years and taking a dab. That'll rock your world. Mark Emery is going to be high. So let's give a big shout out to Mark Emery. Wish him the best. If you can afford to send him something with your credit card, please do so. Get up on Jody Emery's Twitter. If you can't send him money, you can send him a letter. I will tweet the address. I wrote down a note to do that. So support Mark Emery. He's done a lot for you, even if you don't know it. If you're a pot smoker, if you're a pot grower, if you're a pot supporter, Mark Emery is part of your team. You should be helping him out now. It's our turn to return the favor. I've done a 50-minute episode. Let's wrap up the news. I'm going to take a dab. You usually turn off the recording to take a dab. Let's just keep it going. I'm going to take a sip right here. We're going to dab. What are we going to hit? I've got some Lemon Jeffrey dabs. Oh, yeah. Nobody knows I've got the Lemon Jeffrey dabs. That's my secret stash. So I'm going to blast off a little Lemon Jeffrey dab. I'm using my highly educated carb cap. Oh, yeah. Bust off a nice size chunky dab here. Which rig do we want to hit? I want to hit the, I'm going to use the Eric Ross 4.0 prototype with the highly educated duality nail, the domeless. So take a dab with me, guys. If you guys got some dabs of something, dude, if you got some live resin, smoke that shit. I'm addicted to, well, I don't want to say addicted because I'm not addicted to it, but I don't even have any of it. I love some live resin. That's the new shit right there. If you're not smoking live resin, if you haven't tried that yet, you got to try some of that. You got to find one of the guys in the in crowd, get you some live resin. Shout out to Spence. He dabbed me out with that live resin on 710, and that stuff was delicious. So I'm just talking while I'm heating up the nail. It's getting hot. It's going. Do a dab with me, guys. We're going to cough a little bit, too. Hey, did I mention treethugger.com? This episode is brought to you in part by treethugger.com, live music lifestyle magazine. Check out treethugger.com for concert and festival news and reviews. Guess what? It's www.treethugger.com. Go check them out. Shout out to Ryan. What's up, buddy? Thanks for helping support the show. It's a good sponsor right there. Like I said, I only have sponsors that I trust and respect. Here we go. Do a dab with me, guys. Yeah, that's what I like. Big fat dabs. All right, so it's about time to end up the show. I'm trying not to cough in your face a whole bunch. Once again, a big shout out to everybody that made the 710 Cup fun. Shout out to Kevin for saving me a spot. Hey, Adam, what's up, bro? Shout out to you. Both Adams. I've got two friends named Adam, and both of you are going, I wonder if you meant me. I mean both of you. Adam in Pueblo West and Adam on the South Side. What's up, guys? So, the next episode, I'm going to put together a really nice veg growth episode. We'll talk a lot about the vegetative stage of growth. We'll talk about how to feed your plants in veg. We'll talk about the last grow lesson. We had clones in cups and seedlings in cups. So we're going to talk about how to get those little babies into your finish pots, your forever pot that they're going to finish in. Talk about how to get them rooted and healthy in there. We'll have Jesse back in 1 or 2 episodes. He's getting married, so he may be hard to get on the show for a couple of weeks. So shout out to Jessie for getting married. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations, Bern. She's an awesome lady. I've met her a couple times. So now that the show's over, please go to iTunes. Go to the iTunes store. Search for iGrow Culture. Find the review section. Give us a 5-star rating. After that, type in a comment. Let me know what you think of the show, and I will read your comments on a future show. Don't forget that the show is available on iTunes, Stitcher, Swell.am, and every single episode, all the way from the beginning, is available on iRegeneticsColorado.com. You know what? Go check out iRegeneticsColorado.com anyway, just for fun. Also follow iRegenetics Colorado, or it's just at iRegenetics on Instagram. Check that out. There's a lot of great cannabis photography on there. Shout out to Nancy Budwell for her contest-winning photo. Make sure you follow the show at iGrow Culture on Instagram and Twitter. Also the Facebook page. Also, if you want to send anything longer than 140 characters, feel free to hit us up at igrowculture@hotmail.com. Shout out to my ninja Spence. Thanks again for listening. Make sure you tune in next time. Take a fat dab. Give your mom a hug for me.